Welcome to Season 3 of the Knack for Business podcast. Over 390 episodes strong, we're here to ignite your entrepreneurial spirit with fresh insights, networking gems, and creative strategies that elevate your game.
Question to the audience. What is the biggest thing holding you back? Is it you? That's exactly what Alexander will talk about and how to break through your self-imposed limits, reconnect with your true power, and create bold, ease-filled success in business and life. If you're tired of hustling and ready to lead with clarity, energy, and heart, this podcast is for you. And our guest today is Alexander Lossew, a transformational coach, facilitator, and mentor who helps leaders and top performers break through limitations and reconnect with their inner greatness. With over 15 years in fast-paced global business and more than 1,000 coaching hours across 30 countries, Alexander now dedicates his life to helping clients create bold impact with ease and heart. He brings deep listening, radical honesty, and powerful support to every conversation, turning what feels impossible into something laughably doable. Whether you're an executive, founder, or changemaker, Alexander partners only with those ready to grow, transform, and lead with love. His mission is simple but profound. Bring care and humanity back into business so your ceiling becomes your next floor. Alexander, welcome. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here today, sir.
To be here.
Give your favorite
Quote was saying, be awesome, be you. I'm quoting myself, but why not?
So what does it mean to thrive in business today? And I'm assuming thriving is just not making a euro or a dollar, but it's more.
That's what usually people understand. Having success is making as much fun as you can and things connected to that. And I think, and sacrifice certain things in life, like health, relationship with significant others, and so on, and things that people actually enjoy in life. So that makes life worth living. But what's the point of sacrificing them? Because we can have both. You can actually have both. You don't have to choose. So that's thriving for me, first and foremost, is to actually have a way of living, a way of being, the quality of presence that allows you to be your best self, that allows you to inspire others around you, that helps you see the greatness in yourself and the greatness in others, that creates this environment where people actually thrive, where they shine, where they do the best work of their life and have fun while doing it. It's really possible.
I absolutely love the whole fun thing. That's one of my brands. You say that you train the impossible to become laughingly doable. What's the mindset that has to happen to shift into that place?
There are so many ways I could answer this one. It's a brilliant question, Wayne. One way is that, what do you see as impossible? This is your thinking. Am I believing my thinking? Because somebody maybe told you it's impossible, right? But you can come up with creative ways of actually making it possible. You could change that thought. That's just one way of seeing this. But also, when I'm in fear, worrying, projecting something from my past into the future and trying to avoid that in survival mode, I will see certain things as less possible, opposed to when I'm in high spirit, maybe in the flow mode, right? It's always ways of being, internal states. And when I'm in high spirit, I have access to the peak creativity, peak productivity, fun, relationships, and financial prosperity, including success. When you fall in love, you feel like you could move mountains. This is a very particular internal state. You really believe you could move mountains. You see certain things as possible in this state, and you actually take action on it, which allows you to create that stuff. So if there's a secret to give away, this is way more in your control than you think, because we also think this stuff is depending on the weather, what's going on, if I had a fight with my partner or other things, if I had great sleep. So I need, that's what people think usually, I need something from in the outer world to feel great in the inside. And this is actually can be reversed, because I can create who I am moment to moment. I can choose. Yes, it takes practice. It is work. It is real work. And it is extremely valuable, because it makes certain things suddenly possible and laughably doable. And people can't believe how it used to be in the past. It's actually always too good to share.
You talk about feeling trapped on a treadmill as a CEO. One thing that I find is when those things are running, certainly at a certain speed, just trying to get off without ending up in the wall is a challenge all on its own. How do you keep momentum when you're trying to get off a treadwheel?
From my experience, people usually think, oh, I have to go harder, faster, or more. So more of the same. If you do more of the same, you expect different results. The quote people attribute to Alexander, the definition of what? Do you remember, guys? Insanity, I think.
Yes.
So it is probably not about keeping momentum. It is about actually realizing what's going on, actually taking the foot off the gas pedal, slowing down a little bit to realize what's going on. It doesn't mean you just stop immediately from mornings to evenings. That could be useful for some people, I'm sure, but this is not what most of our listeners want to do. Just slow down a tiny little bit to notice what's going on. And then you can execute your superpower of choice, taking a decision, acting on this decision without overthinking or trying out things and see what happens. Because if you go faster, harder, it's not going to do any good to you, to people you work with, to your team, to your clients. It is a road to nowhere. People burn out, people don't experience life is worth living. They settle, and it's sad because there's so much possible out there. There's so much goodness in life, so much awesomeness everywhere.
You got a question, and I'm going to go back to when you fall in love that first time, and you have that euphoric feeling that's inside, and nothing's impossible, and it's a beautiful state. And we need contrast in life because the only time you really appreciate the summer is when it's winter. How do you handle the undulations, the variations, the shifts? Because you can be euphoric now, and if that becomes your new level, which is not a problem, then it's like getting a dopamine hit. Some people are adrenaline junkies. They do more and more of this. They're skydiving. Maybe they forget the parachute. They're trying to wing it. But how do you keep that so it's balanced? Because that's all good, but you have to understand the light from the dark from the light. Neither is bad.
At first, I think like enthusiasm, I love enthusiasm. This is one of the best states that we have access to. I don't think we have to actually do something about it to have it shift. We experience life and it shifts on its own. Sometimes we're sad, sometimes we feel angry, sometimes other things occur, right? In the past, I used to fight it. I used to ignore it. I used to do something to not think about it or make it go away instead of actually accepting it. Instead of allowing myself to see what is this thing trying to teach me and see also, okay, who do I want to be in this moment? Let's say I have a conversation with somebody who lost a significant other. So who do I want to be with this person? Maybe empathetic, maybe understanding, listening, just human, right? I have the power of choice to accept what is instead of trying to fight it. I can actually also fall in love with what is, and sadness is actually, for me now, it's quite enjoyable. I no longer try to fight it or escape it, run from it. Same with fear, by the way. Worrying. If I try to run away from the fear, probably it's going to be bigger. If I try to fight it, it's going to be bigger. And then I have the fear of the fear, which is great.
Would it be an emotional piece then? My wife, so on, I use this analogy. We're driving down the highway. I'm in the passing lane, looking at the person ahead of me going, please move to the right, get out of the way. And my wife's looking at me, she says, patience, perhaps you're missing something that's untoward down the road. And that particular model, one day I was driving with my young lad, and wherever we were going that morning, I kept picking up cars ahead of me that were driving silly slow. And I'm sitting there going, this is starting to frustrate them. I looked at my young lad and I said, you know what? Let's not continue on the path. Maybe we should just divert, do something else, and then go home because I'm not in harmony or in the sequence of what's going on. Perhaps I'm fighting an uphill battle instead of getting wound up and upset. Is it a perception then when you're running into what you consider either an obstacle or frustration? And like you said, what are you learning from it?
How you want to deal with it and who you are with this.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great way to take action. Maybe I need some rest, for example.
They didn't even have a Buddha spell going off at the time going, "Dong."
It's a great example of our thinking that who I am depends on external things. If people are moving this way or that way on the road, or if the weather is this way or that way, depending on my preference. I could also be aware of that and maybe entertain a thought that it's just my thinking. I'm experiencing life, experiencing emotions in different states that are connected to this thinking. If I expect people to move fast and they don't, they will be frustrated, angry, and so on. It's very logical. The moment I'm aware, the moment I'm not moving too fast, also with my thinking, you take a moment to notice, I can do awesome stuff with this. I can actually have some fun. I can understand how really ridiculous it is to expect things from people. If I share it, probably most of them will not care. I have lots and lots of choice. I can use the situation on the road to have an amazing experience. If it's the worst traffic jam, let's say the worst, quote unquote, I get to choose. I can also choose to be the most amazing traffic jam in my life. Finally call a friend. I was thinking about the friend for some days and I have time to call. Yeah, I can call the guy. We create our experiences ourselves without being aware, without being conscious. So if we can be a little bit more conscious, a little bit more aware, and exercise the power of choice, everything shifts, including those little moments that sometimes cost us lots of energy and some people have stroke after. It can all be avoided. Negative experiences also teach us a lot, invite us to learn and grow.
As a life coach, I find that people who are looking into coaching, the newbies, all suffer from remorse syndrome or bigger syndrome. They want a bigger boat, a bigger car, a bigger house, and they're trapped. It's all transactional. How do you get them going from doing more to being more?
Great questions. To get from A to B, you have to do more. I can agree to the degree that, yes, to go from A to B, you have to take some action. And it's not necessarily always more. It's also the quality of your action, the quality of your thinking, the quality of your decisions, the quality of your experience. Let's say if you take two sales experts, they have same experience, roughly. They have the same boss, they have the same clients. And the first one will be complaining about how terrible everything is. And the other one will be like, oh, it's the best. My boss is great. I love them. The pay is great, right? Totally different experiences. This just tells me that we get to choose. We can literally make it up. And if we are making it up all the time without being aware, if we do that, we could actually use this. It may sound unusual, right? It takes time to practice, but this is just amazing. So my last trip to US, I decided that will be the most amazing business trip ever. Zero jet lag. And guess what my experience was? Exactly this. Created some systems to support me on that. And what do I do with sleep? What do I do with nutrition, with working out, and so on to support this? People didn't believe me, but this was my experience. An absolutely amazing trip, the best ever so far. So we can actually decide before something happens. We can get to decide who we want to be before, let's say we have a conversation with this client or we have a conversation with this challenging, by the way, also an idea. And if I stop calling people challenging, maybe my perspective shifts.
How do you deal with leaders that are disconnected? What disconnected them and what can they do about it?
Disconnected. How can you understand disconnected with themselves? I used to be there. I used to live my life being disconnected with myself. Like early on when I was a kid, I enjoyed conversations, especially with people much older than me, much more life experience. And at some point, this disconnect happens. You learn to pretend, you learn to wear masks, you learn not to be authentic, you learn not to listen to yourself, to your intuition, to your inner wisdom. This, by the way, what happens with every coach who's able, they connect you to your inner wisdom. It's not like I am the only guy in the world connected to some sort of secret wisdom. not the case. We're all connected. We can create this connection again. And this is also the same connection that connects us with other people, so we don't feel lonely anymore. Just through the quality of your presence, through how you listen. If you're a leader and you really care, you cannot fake it. People will feel it and they will reciprocate. They will take care of your business. They will take care of you. They will take care of the problems. They will take care of the clients. You actually have less to do and less stuff to worry about. If you don't care and you fake it, it will leak. It is impossible to hide, and they will reciprocate and care less. If you look at the numbers, for example, Gallup, right, tells us employees getting less and less engaged. This is exactly what's going on. Like, people care less about themselves, care less about people, and more about results. Guess what it does with the results? It's a paradox. They don't get better. Actually, if you want to get better results, if you want even earn more money, nothing wrong with that. A paradox is to care less about that stuff and actually starting to care more about human, and it starts with you. It starts with the relationship with yourself. It starts with seeing who you are in this world and creating that, because it's a freaking creative act. Probably the most powerful creative act. So you're acting like God, but with a small g. You create. And it's fascinating. I could talk about it for hours, but I'm sure having the next amazing question already for me.
So when you're talking to a client and they say, listen, I'm frustrated or not satisfied, there's a reason they've come to you, right? How do you get them to change?
The short version is I don't, because I believe that people can only change themselves. So if I want to change something about my experience of life, about how I experience business, if I say I'm a challenging quote unquote business partner or co-founder of my company, it started nice and then the relationship went downhill. The only thing I can really influence is how I see it. So it is about me. I am the problem. The willingness to see that, the willingness to change something about it, something about the way I see my business partner in this example. If I shift my perspective, everything shifts. This is a whole different experience. If I care a little bit more about this guy, what's important, if I listen, not to respond, not to do I believe it, but actually thinking about something completely different. People feel it. People want to be heard. People want to be accepted. They want to be actually loved, cared, and appreciated, accepted, acknowledged. Like, this is this deep longing in every one of us. And I think great leaders get it, not only on the intellectual level, they get it in their heart. And there's a way to learn this. So I only work with people who are ready, really want to change something, and it's not my job to make them change. I can help them create certain insights, like huge penny drop moments that are life-changing, that like you have your life before and after. I help create conditions where it can happen, but I cannot force it.
Are there particular personality types that lend themselves easier to going with the flow? There are some people that like to be in the weeds. They need all the deep people who are high level. Some people are adrenaline junkies. Do you find that where they're coming from, or even which generation they are, makes each experience or each session, you have to do a different tactic?
Every conversation is different. People are people. I used to think about you described, right? Being open or less open for change. This is your internal state of openness. I can decide how open I am with you right now. Talk about personal stories or talk less about personal stories. Be vulnerable, be less vulnerable, all states of being. I get to choose. And we have certain patterns that used to serve us in the past. Maybe it's a survival tactic when we were kids or later in life. And we keep them, and we are not aware that they are actually not serving us anymore. So sometimes my job is to notice that and offer this to my clients. And up to them if they accept. Some people are open there. Oh, wow. Thank you so much. This is extremely valuable. Now I really see this. I get this. And some are like, they're not ready yet. Okay. Who am I to judge?
Alexander, as a coach, one thing I find interesting about your story is you have team certification. And I'm
Yeah.
very interested. I really understand the one-to-many. It's really good stewardship, and it uses your time. It leverages your time brilliantly. What happens if not everyone on the team is at the same place? And how do you customize it without making it 12 individual coachings? How do you work with team when not everyone's on the same page?
Yeah, first, it can be combined, right? Team engagements and individual engagement very effective if it serves the people on the team. And it can be case by case. Sometimes people search for more tactics, more information, more this and more that. And they used to be in that place as well. It can be useful to learn more. But now my preparation is all about this internal stuff. How do I show up? How do I listen? What will be really useful for them? And putting them in the middle. And it's relevant for one-on-one work. It's relevant for team and group work. I just came from an offsite that I facilitated. It was amazing. I decided that it's gonna be amazing no matter what. No matter the progress. They make huge progress. They make somewhat okay progress, right? I can, through how I am, through my quality of presence, invite them to vibe up, to be in at least slightly higher spirit, if they want. And actually, it happens automatically that they join. It's like a bar. Hey, guys, I have a party. Do you want a beer? Do you want to join? It's fun. People want that. Let's say, if I'm fearful judging other people, it's a very interesting state. They want more distance. They want to do something else. They don't want to deal with you at all. So I think that's the magic. And the tactics, the strategies, they can be helpful. But now this internal stuff and really being present with people and seeing what emerges in the moment and dealing with this is first extreme fun and it takes off all the pressure. And by the way, guess who creates the pressure? Me, this guy sitting here wearing this shirt.
You speak about inner giants. How do you help someone find the inner giant, and what's that mean?
It means the greatness in you, your awesome, your resources, your superpowers. What I learned last year, actually, I learned that in the masterclass, that I used to judge myself for my own superpowers. So things I used to think I'm not good at, I was actually excellent at. We are conditioned to see the lack, what went wrong, what is going wrong right now, what could be better, where we suck, so to speak. And this is a very limiting way to see things, to experience life, and to create a life. So instead, we can also choose to put our attention and focus on the resourcefulness, the greatness, the superpowers. Everybody has them. If I'm willing to see, I will see them. If I'm willing to look for them, I will certainly find them. The more I see, the more I see. The more I look, the more will I find. The more amazing stuff will be unlocked. If you compare it to a video game, it's like you unlock level by level. Or people who like to cook onion, layer by layer. You go deeper. It's fascinating stuff, guys. Really fascinating stuff.
How do you get a whole group of people if you're doing a business? So all of a sudden one day you have that epiphany. They come up to Alexander. Alexander says, you're now whole as a human being, more so than you were before. You're at peace. All right. So you've become Zen. I'm going to use that term just liberally here.
Amazing. I love it.
So now, the boss becomes Zen, but he's got a work crew that is seeing the other side, the dark side, so to speak, of the emotions. How does a person then take that and have it permeate through the culture and their space? And again, I understand each individual has to come to that realization, but how does he provide a path, or her provide a path for everybody else to come on board and go, oh, okay, is that like a gradual thing? Is that like group huddle, group hug? What happens next?
I think we have a tendency to ask these how-to questions, right? And not taking the first step until we see the path. I used to be there as well, but I can also choose to trust that the path will reveal itself, that the things I can do will be clear step by step. It can be a process. I don't have to know the steps. It's enough that I trust that the person in front of me, for example, a leader, a CEO, or somebody else, is able to discover them, able to test them. And if it's, let's say, okay, this is not the best path, I can decide to course correct. If I bring the stuff that's required to the table with who I am, my awareness, my willingness to slow down, to notice, to be aware, to create consciously, create from the inside out, lead powerfully from the inside out. The past will reveal itself. It will be no longer a question, right? Let's say a company wants to go from 100 million to a billion valuation or revenue. How do I do that? For me, it's never the question about the how. The question is, who do you need to be? Who do you want to be? If somebody says, I need to be more like this politician that I really like, this guy or this gal. Okay, be that. Maybe not completely 100%, like wearing a mask, but what is your version of this that's authentic and true to you? What does it mean? Maybe being more courageous, maybe taking action, being more decisive, all states of being, by the way, all choices, series of choices. I see life as a constant series of choices that we are mostly not aware of. And we take not always from the place of love, from the place of trust, seeing the opportunities, but from a place of maybe fear, seeing the limitations, creating limitations without being aware, self-sabotaging, sabotaging others through this. And we get to choose. Nobody can tell me how to feel about this podcast that we're doing right now. I'm really enjoying, by the way. And guess what? I decided this beforehand. I just decided it's going to be awesome. And guess what my experience is? It is awesome. Thank you. You're incredible.
Thank you.
Yes, we are.
I love that. Usually people object. That's, by the way, what happens, right? Usually people try to object. If there is one thing that people could take away, I would like to invite the listeners to stop objecting when they hear nice things. Take that in, because this actually creates more of this power, internal power that helps you create awesome stuff in the world. I love it that you did not deflect or did not, come on.
Wayne's blushing already. He's blushing and being very demure.
Yeah, really.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Alexander, one thing, I've been at this journey quite a while. And 30 years ago, when you were offering leadership to companies, you plugged in a VCR tape. Kids ask your grandparents what that is. And then you gave them a workbook and got them to an aha moment. 4 days later, good things happened. And then 2 weeks later, nothing happened. How do you continue to engage? Do you end up working with the leadership on a monthly basis? Do you train the leaders to do it themselves? How do you keep them in that place so that it's not a blip?
Yeah, I think when people learn that on their own, it's exceptional, right? And we always have new challenges. It's like unlocking the next level and then the next challenge comes. I'm a big fan, by the way. I work with several coaches on my own. I'm a big fan of always being coached because there's so much to learn. There's so much to unlock. I just don't want to miss the edge it gives me and the impact, how this grows massively. Just realizing what's the mental picture I have about it. Is it, I only do this when I want to put my fires out? Like the fire extinguisher mode, or I just go to the doctor when I have a problem, or do I do the regular stuff to keep myself healthy and to maybe even more stronger, despite, we all not getting younger usually. I don't know. So we could also choose to work on being more strong, being more resilient, being more powerful, being more healthy. You got the idea. And this work is just fun. It's absolute fun. And the stuff it makes possible, guys, I'm not able to share it because it's confidential, but you would not believe. Some clients are able to reduce or get rid of antidepressants through this work because they experience life differently. They have totally different relationship with themselves, with people around them, people who they used to complain about, let's say, the boss. You shift that, everything else shifts. You shift your relationship with your body, how you talk about your body, how you think about your body, how you create your body with language, your body shifts. I was able to lose over 20 pounds in less than 2 months with this stuff. I use this stuff, talk about and do work on my own first, and only then with my clients. I'm the complete product of what we talk about.
It sounds like the wonderment of a small child. When you haven't seen anything before, if you've never seen an elephant or a zebra or even a cat for the first time, well, what's that? That's interesting, assuming you're not feeling stressed because it's got teeth on it or it's bigger than you. But is that the inner child, that part of us when we were small, where we're bedazzled or in wonderment of things around us and just appreciating that moment? Almost smelling the coffee without
Being present, right? Enjoying it and allowing the natural peace to take care of everything. If we talk about children until 3 or 4 years old, they don't have this conditioning yet. They don't have this earning money is hard, or to be successful, you have to sacrifice your private life, friendships, hobbies, marriage, health, and so on to really crush it. Or you have to be hard with people. You have to be an a-hole to be a good leader. So they respect you, and if they fear you, they respect nonsense. Nonsense, because I can also be courageous. I can decide to not effing care what my boss is telling me. If I learn, okay, this guy is only yelling, I can learn ways to deal with that, so I don't care. Fear is not the ultimate way to lead, right? I think love is. Humanity and care. Forgiveness, which is all facets of love. Being more loving actually unlocks so many things. When I talk about this high spirit, this is the stuff I talk about. And that's the consequence of people work with me. They suddenly start to be more loving. And now it is a requirement. If I don't want that, I will probably refer to someone else. I'm happy to do that. I'm not for everyone. I hope I answered your question, at least to some extent.
A lot of our listeners, there's a personality type called the driver, and they're very bright, very hard charging. Some of them think they know everything, which is incredibly dangerous. If you want to get to the next level, if you want to learn what you don't know, what is a question or two that you should be asking yourself so that you can even seek a coach?
I used to be that guy. This drive can eat you alive, can push you, can burn you out, so to speak, if you allow. It can create massive chaos. It can create a lot of damage to yourself and to others, speaking from experience. So being aware of that and not believing or believing less in what I think, challenging this, is it really true? You can Google Byron Katie, you can search for other things and test it, that you not have to pay huge chunks of money, paid with blood, right? And with sweat and tears. You can test it. Grab a piece of paper, slow down for 30 minutes. If you cannot do 30, do 10. And just reflect about the day. How was I awesome? What can I learn from this? How do I want to use this learning so I actually grow as a human being, professionally, personally, and otherwise? Like just 3 questions, and here you go. Allowing yourself some space to do that. It's like, when do you give yourself the luxury of time? Because that's the most valuable resource we have, I think. And being mindful about it, and not, like when I see calendars of my clients, I see calls back to back, sometimes in parallel, and they stress themselves out because, like, where do I go? What do I miss out? A constant fear of missing out. And why are you doing this to yourself? And do you want to change something? And if yes, what do you want to change? And are you willing to do the work that sometimes is maybe uncomfortable, unusual, to go from A to B? And it's personal choice, but I highly invite everybody who listens to you, please take time and a pen and a piece of paper to reflect, and also to act then on it. Not to reflect, write down and forget about it, but also to take action, because this is where value also gets created. And if you have a friend who can just shut up and listen, most of our friends give us advice. If I can request my friend to just listen and be there for me, I will probably get a lot more value from the conversation. This can be one of the best formats for teams or groups in executives. I give them half a day, 2 days with a pen and legal pad and no distractions. This can be the most amazing way, yes, with some guidance, to create stuff. This is not about more information. This is not about techniques, strategies. Who you are is much more important than what you do, because what you do is the direct consequence of who you are.
Is there a geography you tend to find yourself in most or online? How do we get a hold of you? Where do you like to work?
Some people fly over and meet me. Some people, sometimes I visit. Tend not to travel too much because I really value my time with my family. It's sacred to me. I hope leaders can hear that. You can choose this time to be sacred, non-negotiable, because it will nurture what you do and create in your business and everywhere. Nowadays, it's possible to have a conversation over phone or Zoom with people from all over the world, which is exceptional. And the fun thing, the deeper you go, the more kind of the same topics. So this is really, there's something about human nature, absolutely fascinating and very uniting. So people can Google me, people can find me on LinkedIn. I'm sure you will put some links into the notes. If you have some questions, feel free to ask me. And the invitation is just to take time and reflect if you want to continue going the way you're going, or if you want to change something. And if you want to change something, maybe get support. There's a big misunderstanding about being self-made. Nobody really successful is self-made. They all had teachers, mentors, coaches, partners, and so on. So that's my humble invitation.
I want to say thank you to Alexander, my co-host Wayne, and you, the Knack for Business listeners, because you know what? This has been a really great session. And Alexander helps leaders and high performers break through the invisible barriers that we all create around ourselves. So the idea is that you thrive, lead with authenticity, and create success with ease. And being at ease means less pressure on your body and less needs for meds, which is a really important thing.
To reach the podcast hosts, email them at info@creativeinsight.com or by the website creativeinsight.com, spelled ATIVNSIGHT.com. To reach Wayne at his email, wayne@motivateyou.ca, that is MOTIVE, the numeral 8 and the letter U.ca, or his website, motivateyou.ca. If you would like to be a guest on this podcast and share your knowledge, let us know. We would also appreciate your feedback on the content or format. Check the show notes for more details. For these podcasts, we like to acknowledge the support and thanks to the following people: Carl Richards from Podcast Solutions Made Simple, a renowned podcast expert; Fred Crouch, who is the Property Wizard podcaster, where Bernie is a co-host; Jovan Strika from At Hive, a co-working space that is more than just a space; then Melanie Weber, Bernie's invaluable business partner; and Wayne Pratt from Motivate You Inc., who serves as both a coach and co-host of these podcasts. Disclaimer. Please note that the Knack for Business podcast episodes are meant solely for educational and general informational purposes. The information and opinions contained within are not intended to be professional advice on any subject matter. The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed by the participants are their own personal beliefs and do not represent the views of the podcast hosts or any affiliated organizations. It is highly recommended that individuals seek guidance from their own personal advisors in fields such as accounting, law, or other pertinent areas prior to undertaking any actions or making decisions that may impact their financial, legal, or other aspects of life.